Today we're going to be going over some fantastic, affordable men's designer fragrances that are perfect for spring and summer. So by definition of affordable here, I'm kind of targeting everything under $50. Quite a few of these are below that by a pretty significant margin, $30, $35. Not everybody is wanting to spend, $80, $90, $100+ on designer fragrances for summertime. And oftentimes a lot of them are getting even more expensive than that. Not everybody wants clones either, because I already did a video on some fantastic clone fragrances for, the warmer times of the year. So these are just going to be some more affordable options if you want some true designer scents that just aren't going to break the bank. And so because of that, these aren't clones of anything expensive. And so maybe these will help you stand out in a different way as well. Now, this first one is kind of interesting because it is from a clone brand. However, I don't really constitute this one as a straight up clone. I think it's inspired by a few different things, or more so it's inspired by a particular genre of scent, but nothing in particular. From Afnan, it's 9 a.m. Dive. And it's a little bit interesting because Afnan 9 p.m. is a straight up clone of Ultra Male. It's unmistakable. You could tell what they were doing there, Ultra Male. It's not the case with this. It smells a little bit like a Bleu de Chanel, a little bit like Elysium, a little bit like maybe some other blue fragrances out there, but ultimately it's kind of just another blue scent, not necessarily a clone of anything in particular. And this isn't the first clone brand to do this. Recently, Rasasi released Howes Ice, which is obviously a flanker of the original, and it kind of has a little bit of a conglomerate going on as well. It smells like a few different things combined, but ultimately it's just yet another take on a certain style of scent. And so that's what we have going on here. It's familiar just in the fact that there are a lot of other scents out there in this category. Just kind of a fresh, citrusy blue scent. It's not quite as, upscale and classy and well put together as Bleu de Chanel, but it's also not quite as playful and youthful smelling as something like, Dylan Blue or maybe even Sauvage Eau de Toilette or something. So it just kind of strikes a balance and it's off in its own lane here. One thing that's pretty notable about this is it's nowhere near as expensive as a few of those others that I listed off there. Typically around $35 to $40 for this one. It's a great warm weather freshie. Now this next one typically is going for around $20 on discounters. Very affordable. And it's easy to get caught up in the idea that it's $20, it's going to be cheap and it's going to suck, because sometimes you have that, and it's happened to me plenty of times where I'll spend, $20, $25 even on something, and I get it in and try it, and it's just really bad, very poor quality. Just, you could tell it's something that isn't worthwhile. But that is not the case here, and I want to make sure I get that message across because it's easy to overlook something like this. It's Pepe Jean's Cocktail. So first and foremost, I love the bottle here, that kind of blue to green gradient, kind of a light green, almost borderline yellow, but really sharp looking, gives off a summer look, and the smell is even better. And I'm telling you guys, this one will surprise you big time just on how good it is. A lot of grapefruit here. I believe a little bit of a yuzu accord, although recalling from memory, maybe not, but definitely a lot of grapefruit. It has a kind of a slightly sour bite off the opening. It's a little bit tart. As you work further on, you start picking up on some woods. Nothing to make it too sweet or anything like that. It's still overwhelmingly fresh, but it's giving it a bit of a masculine, kind of musky smell. And then also just a little bit of a green tinge. And again, I didn't write down the notes for this one. But if it's not a mint, it's like a geranium style, but you pick up on like a minty, almost green, kind of aromatic, refreshing accord as well. It smells fantastic. And this one is ranked pretty high in some of my previous summer list videos because I think it's amazing for the price. If this was 70, 80, 90 bucks on discounters, things would be a bit different. I would still love how it smells, but it would be different. You know, the fact that you can get this one for under $30 is insane to me. It is a great bang for your buck scent that really can take you pretty far. You might not be expecting it, but it is worth trying out. Up next, we have Afnan Tarathi Blue. So I'm realizing that I said there were no clones in here. My bad. There is one. And yeah, that's it. You know, like I said, the Afnan, not really a clone, but this one, okay, yeah, you got me there. This one is more of a straight up clone. Now, this is going to be a clone of Bulgari Tiger. That's a pretty popular one. I mean, it's not as popular as, you know, a lot of Parfums de Marly's or Creeds or, you know, Manceras or things of that nature, right? But of all of the more expensive premium Bulgari fragrances, you know, the ones in that range, I think Tiger is probably the most popular. Now, I don't own a bottle of Tiger itself, but I have sampled it, and I bought a sample of it back kind of when it was starting to get some traction, and it smells absolutely beautiful. Very hard to get below retail, which is the main reason why I don't own a full bottle. But also at this point, the other reason why I don't own a full bottle is because I do have this, and it's really good. It's not exact, but it's very close, especially for the price of this one, about $40. Now, Bulgari Tiger and this is heavily focused on the bergamot and the amber. So kind of an ambergris, bergamot smell. Very classy, very gentlemanly. When you see and look at bergamot fragrances, you don't think of something that's going to smell very upscale and premium and rich, but this one does. It is so unique. Now, I understand this is a clone, so there's nothing unique about this, but this DNA on its own is kind of one of a kind. And so, like I said, it's just expensive. The real one is, and not everybody's going to want to be spending that much. I haven't even spent that much on it yet because, again, it's just hard to get below that retail price point. But I'm so happy to have Tarathi Blue. It is a fantastic warm weather scent, and this would be great for events or situations where you are going to be a bit more dressed up and you want to smell premium, you want to be taken seriously. Okay, next up we have L'Eau Super Mesure Dissi by Issey Miyake. Now this one here is one of those diamond in the rough fragrances from Issey Miyake. They have quite a few of these. They're putting out new ones every year, of course, just like every brand is doing. Like this year we had Solar Lavender, and last year there was a couple as well, and it seems like for the most part they're kind of staying the same. I mean, not like they all smell the same, but they're not quite as innovative as some of these older releases were. And this is one of those to me. It's surprisingly good. Maybe it's not the most unique thing that you've ever smelled, but it is better than you might expect, especially just looking at the notes and kind of compared to the rest of the, you know, brand as a whole. It's got sea salt, rosemary, and clary sage here. It's a nice kind of oceanic, aromatic, woody, green mint scent. It's not your typical summer scent where it's just all fresh and that's it. You know, there are some extra layers going on to this one, which ultimately makes it quite a bit more interesting and unique. The price on this one is also very fair too. It's not something that you have to break the bank for, and you do get something that does stand out, especially compared to a lot of other cheaper fragrances out there, but even really compared to some more expensive ones as well. So I think definitely something that's in a really good spot here. It's affordable, but still brings something a little bit new and exciting to the table compared to what you might have already. Next up, we have Mont Blanc Starwalker. So this one has been around for a long time, and I think is typically going for around, I don't know, what is it? $30, 35, maybe not even that, maybe it's down in the 20s, but it's got like a bamboo note and some other, like a star fruit, some citruses and all of that stuff. Kind of smells a little bit like Versace Eau Fraiche, although slightly more affordable. You know, Versace Eau Fraiche is also a great option and isn't expensive either. I think it's $40 to $45, so not a huge difference in price. If you like one over the other, you know, a lot of people will probably just make the jump towards whichever they like better. It's not going to be that cost prohibitive. That being said, Starwalker is a little bit more affordable, and if you like it better, then that's a bonus. And there are some differences as well. This one isn't quite as bright and fresh as the Versace. It still does kind of have like a vacation smell or theme to it, like Eau Fraiche does. just not quite as much. It's a little bit more musky here and just slightly different. But ultimately, this is something that is perfect for the warm weather, spring, summer, whatever it may be. You can't go wrong with Mont Blanc Star Walker, especially at this price point. Something that I think a lot of you guys would really enjoy and find pretty appealing. Let's keep it moving with Ferragamo Acqua Essenziale Blue. So I'm a big fan of Colonia, Acqua Essenziale Colonia. And by the way, all of these Acqua Essenziales were perfumed by Alberto Marias, which is a pretty cool little detail considering a lot of his creations are more expensive. These not so much. But back to Colonia, I love it. The problem is, and I don't know what's up, it's not looking too good though, out of stock a lot. I was wanting to feature it in this video. I started looking around on all the major discounters and it's just not there. So not necessarily looking good. So if you can't buy it and it's out of stock often, typically I exclude things like that from videos because then it's kind of unfair. People can't go out and buy it. Essenziale Blue is a little bit easier to get, or at least it's more consistently in stock. And it kind of makes sense too, because being that it's a blue fragrance, it's going to have a little bit more appeal, and I think people are going to be after this one a little bit more to begin with. And it's kind of what it is. It's a blue scent. It's their take on it, but it is good and it does do its own thing. It's got a really nice bite and texture to it. That's impressively good. You might not expect it. You might be sick of the blue fragrances. You might have a bunch of them already, but this one stands out and it's not like any of the others. So I know we kind of talked about Afnan 9 AM Dive earlier being like a blue scent but doing its own thing. Similar deal with this one. Has a little bit more of a sweetness here. It's almost like the ambroxan that they're using is more ambery, more like an ambergris, just kind of a little bit more of a textured sweetness, but not a ton. Still going to be pretty fresh, still going to be very clean with a little bit of a soapiness. But for the price point, around $35 to maybe creeping up towards $40, it's a fantastic one. It's easy to hate, it's easy to sleep on, but it's better than you might expect. Next up, we have Lacoste L'Homme, just the original. So this one has rhubarb, and that's kind of what it's famous for. Same with Lacoste L'Homme Intense, which also could be featured in this video. Unfortunately, my bottle got broken during my moving process, and so it spilled all over the floor and broken, and I haven't bought a new one yet. Can't really feature it if I don't have it, but you know, you heard it from here first. Lacoste L'Homme Intense could be a great alternative as well. It's just kind of whichever one you like better. I would say in a lot of instances, if you didn't want to buy both, the Intense would be the better purchase just because it is more intense and therefore even a little bit stronger. But there's nothing wrong with the original either. And there are some instances where I do like the original a bit better because it is a bit lighter, a bit fresher, and the orange in here with that rhubarb is a little bit more pronounced. It's creamy and it smells great, and it might be the better choice for warmer days. And it's not going to be your traditional summer scent to begin with, given that it does have that sweetness and just, you know, focusing on the orange and stuff rather than some citruses to where it would work good when it's really hot, but still something that can easily be pulled off in the spring and summer months. I think you're looking at about $30 to $35 for this one as well, and roughly about the same for Lacoste L'Homme Intense, maybe a few bucks more, but they're not too far off. These are great scents for the money, and again, you can get them on most discounters. I'll link them down below. So we're gonna end this video with a cheapy classic. It's one that, love it or hate it, man, it still gets the job done, and I have so much respect for this scent. It's a $20 scent or less. I've seen it as low as like 15. You get it unboxed, you get testers, and I don't think the testers come with a cap, which at this price point, oh well. It's also one of those things where if you buy a full presentation bottle and you completely burn through it, you can buy a tester and just reuse your old cap and you can save $5 or whatever it is, which for a scent this price is you know, something worth noting. It's Nautica Voyage. Such a fantastic green apple, cucumber, watery smelling scent. I don't care what anybody says, man. Hate on it because it's cheap, and make whatever comments you might make about, oh, you're wearing that cheap thing. Yes, and I love it. I don't know, maybe it's the nostalgia part as well that is kind of with me on this because I got this very early on. I got this at the beginning stages of my collecting days, and that's kind of when this one was really at the peak hype. It was 2017, end of 2016 time period is when I ended up buying this one. I actually bought it in winter time, which was when I was first starting out. It was one of the first fragrances I ever bought, along with Versace Eau Fresh. These two, I bought them at the same time, my first ever purchases. And it was winter, it was cold, but I didn't care. That's what I wanted to start with. And I wore them and they worked great. Have worn them years and years through the spring and summer months, and I just love it. You're probably like, oh, you're lying, your bottle's full. Well, again, these are 20 bucks. They're a dime a dozen, and I have quite a few bottles. My original, which I can't find right now, it's still in the box, I haven't unpacked it yet, is like down to here, just a very small sliver left. So this is one of my backups. Love everything about Nautica Voyage, and that's where we're gonna end it today. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some fantastic designer fragrances that are affordable and smell great for the spring and summer. Now I apologize because some of you keen viewers probably noticed halfway through the video I sound different. That's because my lav mic that I was shooting with to start died. Luckily, been doing this long enough that I'm always glancing and checking to make sure I'm still recording audio, and then I caught that I wasn't. So I had to switch over to my shotgun mic. It's echoey down here compared to the old setup, I understand, but I wanted to finish it now instead of scrapping the whole video. So all of the other ones will be going back to that lav mic once it's charged back up again. But if you notice things sounded different halfway through, you're not crazy, you noticed, and that's what happened. But I'll link all these down below. Also, if you want to be notified of rare, discontinued, or hard to find fragrances coming into stock, or brand new releases hitting discounters, which has been happening quicker than ever nowadays, you can jump on my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.